to BYJU'S Social Science classes. How have you all been? I've been fantastic, so I'm hoping the same thing for you. Now today we're going to be dealing with the final part of our Federalism chapter. You know that we've done part 1 and part 2 before. So let's talk about what we did in our last session, which is basically Federalism part 2. So in our last session, you know that we studied the two types of federal governments, which is basically the coming together federation and the holding together federations. Then we also went ahead and discussed the various factors that make our country, India, a federal country, right? Now, just in case you have any doubts about these topics, please do go back and check our videos on federalism, and you will find this on the 9/10th channel. In fact, I do strongly recommend that you should check out these videos, because then it'll give you a link to what we are going to do today, right? Okay, great. With that, today what are we going to do? We are going to now understand how federalism is practiced in India, right? So earlier, we saw that we basically saw all the constitutional provisions that are present to establish a federal system of governments in India. But I have a question. Do you think that these rules are all that we need for success of federalism, or do we need something else? Well, I think that we definitely need more than that, right? Along with these constitutional provisions, you see, the federal spirit also has to be reflected in the democratic politics practiced in India. So basically what I'm trying to say is that for the success of a federal government, we need constitutional provisions, which we already have. We also need democratic politics. So it is a combination of both. So now, let us go ahead and see how India, through its democratic politics, has endured the federal spirit and how we have had the success of federalism in our country. Now, one of the ways in which India has done this or had done this is basically by reorganizing the state boundaries based on language. So we're talking about the creation of linguistic states. Cool fact. Did you know that Andhra Pradesh was the first state to be formed on a linguistic basis in the country? So basically, let me tell you what happened. The State Reorganization Act of 1956 merged the Telugu-speaking areas of the northern districts of Madras state to create the Andhra Pradesh state. Isn't that great? So interesting, no? Now, this is one example. But apart from Andhra Pradesh, we also have states like Jharkhand, Nagaland and Uttarakhand, which were also formed based on cultural factors, ethnicity, or even geographical differences. So let me tell you again another thing, the background of this whole thing. See, basically, when the demand for the formation of states on the basis of language was raised, some of our national leaders quite naturally feared that this would lead to disintegration of the country if we were to divide the country based on language. So obviously the central government, they resisted linguistic states for some time. But let me tell you that after their creation, the experience has actually shown that the formation of such linguistic states has actually made the country more united. Isn't that great? And in fact, another thing is that it has also made administration easier. So it's actually a big success, right? So that was a challenge well passed. Now, the second test for the Indian Federation is the language policy. Now, we know that there are so many different languages in our country, right? So obviously, quite naturally, this could be a challenge. Now, in order to face this challenge, our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. Hindi, of course, was identified as the official language. But then if you think about it, Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of Indians. So therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages also. So, besides Hindi, there are 21 other languages which are recognized as scheduled languages by the Constitution. And this is very, very important because Okay, let me explain this. Let's say that you have a candidate in an examination which is being conducted by the central government for a central government position. Now, this candidate, with all these other languages being an option, could obviously then opt to take the examination in any one of these languages, right? So, isn't that cool? And not just that, the states also have their own official languages. And much of the government work takes place in the official language of the concerned state. So there are all these provisions that are available, right? Now, talking about Hindi, the leaders of our country, they actually adopted a very cautious attitude in spreading the use of Hindi. So, interestingly, according to the constitution, the use of English for official purposes was actually supposed to stop by 1965. However, many non-Hindi speaking states demanded that the use of English should continue. One such example was Tamil Nadu. Now, in Tamil Nadu, this movement actually took quite a violent form. And the central government responded by agreeing to continue the use of English along with Hindi for official purposes. So, according to the official language policy, the use of Hindi is to be promoted, but this should not be done at the cost of other languages, right? Also, the third thing that I'm going to be talking to you about as to what has made federalism a success in India, or how it is practiced in India, is basically the fact of the restructuring of the center-state relations. This is actually one more way in which federalism has been strengthened in practice. So let me tell you that in our country before 1990, it was quite common for states to be undermined by the center, and this period then saw the rise of regional political parties in many states of India, and this was also the beginning of the era of coalition governments. But what exactly is a coalition government? So, let me explain this. A coalition government is formed by an alliance of at least two or more political parties who then go ahead and adopt a common program. Again, I'll give you the background. You see, back in 1990, since there was no single party that got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including several regional parties, to form a government at the center. And this led to a new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of the state government. And this trend was actually supported by the Supreme Court, which then made it difficult for the central government to just dismiss state governments. So, we can say that federalism in India is practiced in a way that accommodates diversity as well as safeguards the country's unity. Let me put that over here. Diversity and unity both are taken care of with this. Now, in addition to all of this that I've told you, another practice is basically where power is decentralized in India, which means that power is taken from the central and the state governments and it is given to local governments. But thinking about it, what was the need for power to be decentralized in India? I mean, what was the need for a local government? Well, if you think about it, a vast country like ours, like India, cannot be run only with two tiers, that is central and state governments, right? Because states in India are they're so large that they're as large as independent countries of Europe. So, talking about that, let me tell you a very interesting fact. In terms of size of population, if you take the state of Uttar Pradesh is actually bigger than Russia, and Maharashtra is about as big as Germany. Not just that, many of these states are internally very diverse, and that is why there definitely arose a need for power sharing within these states, right? And this resulted in the third tier of government called local government, which is below that of the state governments. So, what is the basic idea behind this? The basic idea behind decentralization is that there are a large number of problems and issues which are best settled at the local level, because the people at the local level, they will have a better knowledge of the problems in their localities, right, as opposed to the center or the state. Also, the people at the local level will have better ideas on where to spend money and what to spend the money on and how to manage things more efficiently. right? Now, besides, at the local level, it is possible for the people to directly participate in decision making, and this is very, very important because this helps to inculcate a habit of democratic participation. Let me write this down for you. Democratic participation. Very, very important. So you see, local government is the best way to realize one important principle of democracy, which is local self-government. And the local governments basically help us to do this, right? So, recognizing this, various constitutional amendments were made in the year 1992 to decentralize power down to the level of the villages and the towns. So what did they do? Take a look at this pyramid over here. They set up Gram Panchayats at the village level. Then above that you had the Panchayat Samiti at the block level. Then you had the Zilla Parishad at the district level. Now, a very important point to note over here is that the power of the body increases as we go from the village level to the district level. And this system is collectively called rural local government, or also popularly known as the name with the name of, I'm sure you know this is the Panchayati Raj, right? Okay, now talking about the Panchayati Raj, it is constitutionally mandated to hold regular elections for these local government bodies. And the constitution has made it mandatory for seats to be reserved in the elected bodies of these institutions for castes and classes like the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes and other backward classes. And in fact, not just that, the position of executive heads is also reserved for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. So isn't that cool? So elections to the local government bodies have to happen, reservation of seats for the scheduled caste has to happen, and apart from this also, we have at least 1/3 of all positions or seats which are reserved for women. So you see how there's representation with all people involved in this local government. It's quite cool. Moreover, an independent institution called the State Election Commission has also been created in each state to conduct panchayat and municipal elections. I'm just going to put it over here as conduct elections, right? The constitution has also made it mandatory for the state governments to share some powers and revenue with local government bodies, right? But of course, this is a general principle. We have to note that the nature of this kind of sharing definitely does vary from state to state, right? Okay, now let's talk about urban local government. We spoke about the local government in the rural areas. Similarly, we have an urban local government under which we have municipalities or municipal corporations that are set up in small towns and big cities respectively. So it's municipality for the town and municipal corporation for the cities. Now, both municipalities and municipal corporations are controlled by elected bodies consisting of people's representatives. So we have elected these people. Now, talking about this, I have two very interesting questions for you. So here is the first question. Can you tell me who is the political head of the municipality? Answer. And the second question is, who is the head of a municipal corporation? So definitely do drop your answers in our comment section below, and I'm just waiting to read your comments. All right, great. So with that, we've actually come to the end of this session and to the end of this chapter also. What have we learned today? Today we have learned how federalism is practiced in India, right? The practical aspects of it. So what are the practical aspects of it? How is it practiced? Number one, we spoke about the creation of linguistic states, and this is a very important way in which federalism is practiced. Number two, we spoke about the language policy. Again, very, very important. Number three, we spoke about center-state relations, right? And how the center cannot undermine the state governments, and this is very important for federalism actually. And number 4, we spoke about the decentralization process. One second, let me put this down for you. Decentralization, which is basically the creation of the local governments. And further, in decentralization, we learned about rural local government as well as urban local government, right? Okay, so I'm done with this chapter. Now, just in case you have any doubts about the concept of federalism, please don't hesitate to ask us. Put your question in the comment section below and we will try our best to answer this question, right? Apart from that, BYJU'S mini learning program is now free for the first 500 users every week. This is great news. So please go click on the link in the description box and type in the code YTFIRST to avail of this program. Absolutely free. And definitely do not forget to watch all our sessions, my sessions, as well as everybody else's sessions, all the other teachers. We put out some wonderful sessions for you on our 9th to 10th channel. So go ahead, watch the sessions, and definitely do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to see you really, really soon. Bye-bye.